very much for speaking with us. So what are the broad trends that you're seeing in Asia, I guess in the context of financial markets?
Well, we've seen a lot of interesting things happen over the last couple of years, which I think give rise to great opportunity here. I would bucket them into probably 3 or 4 areas. The first one would be liberalization of markets. Interestingly, if you look at China, it's liberalization of currencies, capital account, and with experimentation occurring with things like the Shanghai Foreign Trade Zone. Second area that I would think of is also harmonization in certain parts of the region. The rise of the ASEAN and the trade settlement. A whole host of things happening in the ASEAN, which is interesting because it encourages, with a view towards encouraging inflows. The third thing is the exact opposite, which is fragmentation. So with increasing regulatory changes, both global, local, and regional, we're seeing a whole host of new regulations that have to be complied with. Some of them are symbiotic and some of them are cause for fragmentation in
Can you
capital.
give us an example?
Well, let's look at an example which is linked to the rise of potential for subsidiarization. The quest for certain markets to consider having banks in particular, since I'm a banker, look at becoming a subsidiary, and the impact that can have on how we manage our local capital.
Right. So what are these are you said the broad trends. What are the more specific trends when it comes to the way transactions or deals are happening and capital flows?
Okay. Well, I'll talk about two aspects. One would be trade finance and trade flows, and the other one could be asset flows. So the first trend, we're seeing incredible change in trade patterns, particularly as it relates to the rise in intra-Asia flow and the rise in flows towards ASEAN. That's something that has taken off quite dramatically over the last few years. Second thing related to that.
And what's driving that?
I think driving it is the result of the financial crisis. Clearly, there was a diminished import requirement on the part of the U.S. and Europe, and so it gave rise to Asia looking at its own backyard. The second thing is also related to the rise of the RMB. The RMB as a currency, a trade currency, is taking on more and more prominence since it was introduced as a trade currency in 2009. So that's the second trend. And then probably the third trend would be the interconnectivity of supply chains. So that's something that we see as being very exciting, and Thailand has been a great example of being the automotive parts manufacturer for the world, but that's connected to other parts of Asia and other parts of the world. So that would be what I would see as the core trends on the, I would say, trade and trade side.
Okay.
On the
capital
side, we're seeing interesting things occur within the ASEAN. The ASEAN has put together the cohesion of that region and looking at harmonization of investment opportunity within the ASEAN, including things like the post-trade settlement link, with an aim towards harmonizing standards to encourage investment to come to the region and to stay in the region.
Right. And how's if I were to ask you to not exactly give us a forecast, but tell us about how things are looking for the rest of the year. Do you see any shifts in some of the flows that you talked about from the trade point of view or capital?
We're optimistic about the rest of the year. We have, as we're sitting in India right now, the elections are coming up pretty soon. I think that will give way to more certainty in the market, and certainty actually gives more opportunity for investment and for the increase in trade and capital investment. China continues to build out to liberalize its policies around the financial sector, and that will give rise to more investment and inbound and outbound investment for China. So And we, in ASEAN, as I mentioned earlier, is an area where we see tremendous growth opportunity. Just looking at the GDPs of those nations, it's tremendously optimistic.
Right. So last question, how is China I mean, you did talk about China in reference to currency and some of the regulatory changes that are happening there, but how is China stacking up overall today versus the rest of ASEAN or Southeast ASEAN or South Asia as an opportunity?
China continues to be a large opportunity. I think the issue is not how it stacks up, but how we take advantage of the opportunity that it presents. There are many opportunities in Asia, not just China. We see opportunities in India, we see opportunities in ASEAN, we see opportunities elsewhere in countries I haven't mentioned. So in China, it's really understanding what the policies are, how they impact business, and to take advantage of the changes that are occurring domestically, so that all of us have opportunities to grow our businesses and to support the growth goals of the individual countries.
Right. So, just to come back to India, I mean, you did say that once the uncertainty of who's going to come into government and all that ends, things could change. Any other thoughts? I mean, that you're looking forward to, or any themes that you're building on from an India point of view?
Well, we're looking at continuing to grow our business here. It is, we believe it's a great opportunity. It continues to have very big focus on investment, on developing the trade finance markets. So we're optimistic about the future here.
Lisa, thank you very much for speaking with us. Thank you.